Roy, Jaya, James, Roy, Mia Ann, and Abigail. So yeah, I asked for a volunteer to lead us in a prayer. Roy.
Hi. Ma'am, ako na lang po.
Ay, sige. Thank you.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts for the gift of learning. As we begin this review session, we ask you your guidance and wisdom. Help us to focus, understand, and retain the knowledge we need. Grant us patience and perseverance, and may we trust in your plan for as we prepare for our exams. Bless our teachers and classmates as we work together in everything we do. May we bring honor to you. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Jaya. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, we will try to have to have a lecture on the new procurement law. So I presume you have read already the law and the advanced material. So Jen, would you like to paano tayo? Ayan na. Wala na bang ilalaki yan? Nakaano ba yan, Jen? Let's see. Nakikita kaya nila? Would you like to ask them?
Yes po, ma'am. Nakikita na namin, ma'am.
Kita naman. Okay. So, during your board exam, it's also possible that this will come out, but I'm quite sure the old law will still be included because your board exam anyway is computer. So yung mga questions, it will be retrieved from the database and then it cannot select ba? Ganun. So it's random. For example, area 1, 2, 3, and then because planning laws, environmental laws, yeah, it's part 3, so it will still be asked for sure yung old law natin on procurement. So let's see what we can do here. But it's not yet really disseminated yung ating yung new procurement law, but we need to tackle this. So okay. At least naka-advance na tayo just in case it will be us, right? We don't know it. We cannot predict fully, but we can predict partially. So that's we can cover anyway. So how much time do we have until our July board exam? Is it 8 or 9 months? Do you know? Can you count? So let's assume your board exam is July. So ilan pa? Okay.
9.
Mga ano na. Yeah, I will have it. Okay. And then so you can see it's I'd like to give credits to first this I just downloaded it from the website of DBM. Is it DBM? And it's called RA 12009. So it's the presentation material of Attorney Ruiz. She's the Executive Director 5 of the GPPB, TSO, meaning Technical Support Office. It's considered actually significant legislative or legislative update, and they consider it a major step forward in the modernization and reform of procurement processes. So it was designed to improve transparency. What else? So we need to know the goals of this, the intent of this law, which is transparency, efficiency, and accountability. So it replaces the previous procurement law, RA 9184. Okay, and bringing it with it a new set of standards and guidelines for the acquisition of goods, services, and infrastructure. So tonight, we'll try to look into what were the key changes introduced by this law. We try to understand its implications and also examine how it aims to better serve the public interest. So, okay, we can go to the next one, the next slide. Then you can see the timeline, right? So it highlights the timeline and collaborative process involved in amending the Government Procurement Act, or the GPRA, culminate in what is now known as RA 12009. And it all began, if you can look at that, of the timeline there at the left side, it began with the 2023 SONA, held July 24, 2023, where the need for modernizing procurement laws was emphasized. So this announcement set in motion a series of steps led by the GPRB, or the GPP, Government Procurement, GPPB, right? TSO, to refine and propose updates to the existing RA 9184. And also, still on the timeline, August 7, 2003, again, the GPPB TSO presented their proposed amendments to the DBM Secretary. And this proposal involved detailed discussions and input from various stakeholders, including 31 out of 35 NGAs, as indicated by the 91.4% participation rate. Also LGUs were also consulted, with 167 out of 554 prioritized LGUs, comprising now, or which make up 30.1% participation. This inclusion of multiple stakeholders underscores the collaborative nature of the reform. So the proposal was also discussed with 9 development partners, 2 international counterparts, 153 representatives from CSOs, and 187 representatives from MSMEs. These engagements were essential to ensure that the amendments reflected diverse perspectives and addressed both local and international standards. Also in this slide, in October 2023, the amendments were brought to the attention of Congress, meaning both the Senate and the House of Representatives through a series of discussions, consultations, and refinements. These efforts culminated in the draft bill for RA 12009. So that was in October 2023. The extensive involvement of various sectors highlights the importance of transparency, inclusivity, and collaboration in drafting legislation that impacts public procurement processes nationwide. So probably we can move to the next slide. So that's the, well, you know, I think most if not all of you are familiar with how a bill becomes a law. That if you look at the timeline, it was approved July 20, 2024. And during that time, the board exam for environmental planning scheduled July last year and then moved to August. So it's the reason why 12009 was not asked in that board exam. It's still 9184 because the bill was the law was approved July 20. So it's impossible to be incorporating that in the board exams. And it was published July 29, 2025, and it became effective August 13, 2024. And so because of this, we can say that the normal effectivity of a law 15 days following the publication in the National Gazette or in a newspaper of national circulation, that's 15 days after publication. So if you count July 29 up to 31st and then up to 13 August, isn't it, when counting for the effectivity, you start with the following day, right? 29, 30. So omit the first day and include the last day, right? So 13 August is exactly the 15th day. And so it became effective 15 days following its publication. Then okay, we can go to the next one, the next slide. So normal, there are also laws that takes effect, immediately. Depends on how it was stipulated in the law itself. Sometimes, especially if it has to take effect immediately and after its publication, it becomes effective. So you don't need to wait for 15 days. But this one, it followed the normal or the traditional counting. And so, we have the IRR. We don't have yet, sorry, but we have the IRR of 9184. If I asked you, so which IRR should be used for the current procurement activities, isn't it? So there's nothing yet there. Wala pa, diba? So it says 180 days from the promulgation of RA. Mali yung typing nila na. So it should be 12009. Magkamali sila. So because this is not mine. So anyway, and then after 90 days of the approval of the IRR, and then standard forms will be produced. But for sure, they already have enhanced the old ones, the standard forms for procurement. So, okay. So we need to wait for 180 days. 180 days divided by 30. So how long would that be? Can you count?
6 months.
Sorry. 6 months, okay. So 6 months from August, from the 80, from the promulgation, it says promulgation. Okay, so from August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So, yung ano pa, yung IRR, hindi pa natin magagamit until February. And of course, even if there's IRR, wala pa yung standard form because it says here 90 days of the approval of the IRR unless they're ready as soon as IRR will be approved. So, what's the difference between the law, the RA itself, the statute 12009 and the IRR? Is it a separate law? Do you know the answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So, um, of course, the standard forms is very important because that's the mechanism on how to proceed with the procurement activity. So now we can go to the transitory provision. Transitory, go to the next one. So it says here, okay, prior to the effectivity of the IRR of RA 12009, the provision of 9184 and its IR shall remain in force and effect, okay, in order to ensure the continued implementation of programs, activities, and projects. So the GPPB and all HOP, okay, procuring entities and the BACs affected by this act shall be given a 3-year transitory period from the approval of the standard forms. Okay, so ang reckoning niya is approval of the standard forms for procurement to fully comply with the requirements of this act. So, what do you mean, Hope? Just unmute.
Hope, head of procurement entity.
Okay, thank you. So, heads of procuring entities. We need to know all those acronyms. Sometimes these are being asked in the board exam. So at least we're ready for that. So until it says until the IRR of this Act 12009 are fully in effect, the provisions of the previous procurement law RA 9184 and its IR will remain in force. So it's clear, all right? This continuity ensures that ongoing government programs, activities, and projects can proceed without disruption, maintaining stability in procurement practices until new IRR is formally adopted and enforced. So by February 2025, we will have the IRR. And so our exam is July. So February, March, April, May, June, July. I'm not sure, but I think because every year our PRB, our Professional Regulatory Board of Environmental Planners or Planning prepare there are 3 members, so they prepare 100 questions each. I mean new questions each, and then they incorporate it to the database. Okay, so I'm not sure if by February, so siyempre there are preparations before it will be released. I'm not sure if they can capture that ahead of time and if they still wait for that, unless the questions will be just on the act itself and not the IRR. Okay, so it would be good that we have mastered our 9184 plus the 12009, right? And then bonus na lang if they would still ask the IRR, ganon. So the 3-year transition period there, so it says once the standard procurement forms under 12009 are approved, all this one, okay, the GPBB, HOPE, and BACs will be granted a 3-year transition period to fully comply, okay, with the new requirements. So this transitional time frame allows government agencies and stakeholders to adapt their systems, train personnel, what else, and ensure proper understanding and adherence to the updated procurement procedures mandated by RA 12009. The transitory provision reflects a pragmatic approach to implementing RA 12009, acknowledging the need for a phased adaptation to minimize potential challenges during the shift from 9184 to 12009. And so, this careful planning demonstrates the government's commitment to a smooth and effective transition, ensuring that all entities are fully prepared to operate under the new standards by the end of the 3-year period. So we can go to the next slide there. I think they are practical. These are the proposed the key proposed provisions in the new GPA, or the new Government Procurement Act, the 12009, as developed by the GPPB TSO, and so these provisions aim to address long-standing challenges in the procurement process while enhancing its overall effectiveness, sustainability, and integrity. Well, all these concepts here, I think it's self-explanatory, but of course, they are considered pillars of 12009 to improve transparency, accountability in government procurement. So it emphasizes, when transparency and accountability is being called for, it emphasizes robust reporting mechanisms and stricter oversight. So, of course, the law should, I mean, the intent, I've read about the law, and it seeks to reduce opportunities for corruption, okay, and enhance public trust. Number 2, sustainable public procurement, and why it was here. It's introducing a focus on sustainability, encouraging procurement practices that support environmental conservation, social responsibility, and economic inclusivity. This means that government procurement will prioritize suppliers and products that align with sustainable development goals, ensuring that public spending contributes positively to society. So then third there is strategic procurement planning, emphasizing on the importance of planning foresight in procurement. But of course, there's procurement planning in the RA 9184, but of course, we're not going back, but we're always going forward, I mean, positively. By adopting a strategic approach, government agencies can better align their procurement activities with their overall mission, goals, and resource availability. Strategic procurement planning helps prevent last-minute, inefficient spending, and ensures that procurement supports the long-term objectives of the agency. Then, modernize procurement process. So what's new about the new law? Well, it speaks about N6 and speaks about modernizing procurement procedures by leveraging technology and simplifying steps. So it surrounds, I mean, digital procurement platforms. It's all about this one. Streamlined approval processes and updated protocols are part of this modernization effort, aiming to reduce delays and make procurement more efficient and user-friendly. Then lastly, on this slide is professionalization of public procurement. And why is this so? recognizing that effective procurement requires skilled personnel. 12009 includes provisions for professionalizing procurement roles within government. This involves training, certification, and continuous professional development to ensure that procurement officers are well equipped to handle the complexities of the process with integrity and expertise. Um, so these provisions represent a comprehensive approach to reforming public procurement in the Philippines. So we can go to the next slide. I think it's okay. Transparency. It says it builds upon transparency and accountability provisions of the previous RA 9184 by introducing enhanced measures that allow for greater oversight and public participation in procurement processes. And it specified participatory procurement with CSOs. 12009 strengthens transparency by encouraging CSOs to play an active role in public procurement. And how could this be possible? It will allow, or this participatory approach allows CSOs to observe and monitor procurement activities, promoting a more transparent environment where procurement decisions are subject to independent scrutiny. So the involvement of CSOs helps to ensure that procurement activities are conducted fairly, preventing corruption and misuse of public funds. Then second, there is use of beneficial ownership information. So in public procurement. So what is this? This is if you read the law, it says it's another significant enhancement, which is the inclusion of BO, or beneficial ownership information, in public procurement. It refers to identifying the individuals who ultimately own, control, or benefit from a company involved in a contract. By requiring this information, 12009 aims to prevent conflicts of interest and ensure that those who are awarded contracts are not using proxies to discuss, or to disguise unethical practices. So, sounds familiar? This transparency measure helps deter fraud and strengthens accountability as the true stakeholders are identified and held responsible. So overall, 12009 not only maintains the core principles of transparency and accountability from RA 9184, but also introduces these advanced provisions to deepen public trust in government procurement. This approach aligns with global best practices, where participatory and transparent processes are key to achieving effective governance. So we proceed, we'll try to look into how these provisions will be implemented and their anticipated impact on the procurement landscape in the Philippines. We can go to the next slide. So what are these that you're seeing? So this is an overview of the initiatives and achievements that the GPPB has accomplished so far to improve transparency and accountability in public procurement through its online portal. So that it's what we call the GPPB online portal. The GPPB launched an online platform to make procurement information accessible to the public, ensuring transparency in government procurement activities. And this portal, accessible at, you can see that, online portal.gppb.gov.ph. So it serves as a centralized resource for all government procurement related documents, advisories, and resolutions. By providing open access to procurement data, the portal allows citizens, stakeholders, and oversight bodies to monitor procurement activities in real time. So that's what 9184, okay, because it says this GPBB online portal. On the right side, you can see under GPBB resolution number 6, the number 06, that's the 2020, dated April 6, 2020. So that this is also their legacy. And then transparent awards, transparent awards, award contracts. So it's one also of the significant accomplishments of the GPBB online portal, is the transparent publication of awarded contracts worth more than 58 billion. Wow, 58 billion. This transparency not only allows for public scrutiny, but also acts as a deterrent for potential corruption and irregularities, promoting a fair and competitive environment for bidders and contractors. But of course, easier said than done, right? So just imagine 58 billion pesos already counted by the system of the award total number of contracts, I mean, the cost of it. But if not in the system, or if not in this particular, yeah, activities, yeah, there's always a way, not for being negative, but for our observation, there's always a way at the back door, side door, or even front door, right? That it's still not really a perfect system. So, but we have hope. I hope to have a hope in 12009. So anyway, the portal and the GPPB's efforts have not gone unnoticed internationally. That's what it says, that the Philippines has been recognized as the only Asian country with an adequate level of accountability in its public procurement system, highlighting the success of the GPPB's initiatives in setting a high standard for accountability and in procurement processes. So you can see the date there, that it was actually, if you notice, April 6, 2020, this resolution was a response to the need for greater transparency in procurement, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? March 2020, right? So when that was the lockdown, the signal, the commence, when lockdown was commenced. So, and also when emergency procurement became a priority, the portal has since been instrumental in providing the public with up-to-date information on procurement activities, especially during times of crisis. So it represents somehow a major step forward in promoting transparency, accountability, and public trust in government procurement. So we can continue to the next slide. We are seeing some statistics there, Jen. Can go to the next slide. So what is this? Online, the blacklisting, right? You can see GPBB at TSO online blacklisting portal. Yeah, for those who are not yet very much aware or equipped with 9184, so you can see this one, that it was launched, online blacklisting portal was launched by the GPPBTSO as part of its efforts to enhance transparency and accountability in public procurement. So this portal is a tool for managing and disseminating information on blacklisted entities, which helps in maintaining the integrity of the procurement process. So you can see there, natakpan yung yung kanyang link, but it's okay. Online blacklisting portal.gpbb.gov.ph. It's a digital platform that provides for that I just said, up-to-date information on contractors, suppliers, and consultants who have been blacklisted from participating in government procurement due to violations or non-compliance with procurement standards. So this transparency tool ensures that all government agencies and the public have access to information on entities that have been sanctioned, thus protecting the procurement process from unreliable or dishonest participants. So as shown, as to user engagement, the portal currently has 185 active users. These users, which include procurement officers, government agency representatives, and other stakeholders, use the portal to check and verify the status of entities before engaging them in procurement activities. So this engagement reflects the growing reliance on the portal as an essential tool for ensuring compliance and accountability. As to entities blacklisted, there are currently 94 blacklisted entities on the portal. These entities have been restricted from participating in government procurement due to various infractions. Okay, means violations ranging from contract breaches to failure to meet project standards. So by maintaining a public record of blacklisted entities, the portal acts as a deterrent, encouraging companies to comply with procurement laws and regulations. So the establishment of the online blacklisting portal was mandated by GPPB Resolution Number 06/2020, dated April 6, 2020, and this resolution underscores the GPPB's commitment to transparency and accountability by providing a centralized and accessible database for blacklisting information, helping government entities make informed decisions when selecting contractors. So it's a critical step forward in professionalizing procurement processes in the Philippines. We can go to the next slide. Okay, it's still same, right? Some 185. Anyway, we can go to the next one. Okay. We can go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, that's a breakdown of the common reasons for blacklisting, so you know. Okay. Common reasons for blacklisting entities in government procurement, providing insight into the primary issues that lead to sanctions. The pie chart visually highlights the distribution of reasons, helping us understand the areas where compliance is most often compromised. Number one is unsatisfactory performance. You can see 71.2%, which means that the majority of blacklisted cases are due to unsatisfactory performance, and it includes situations where contractors or suppliers fail to meet the quality, timeliness, or timelines or standards specified in their contracts. This high percentage indicates a prevalent issue with performance, emphasizing the need for rigorous monitoring and evaluation of contractors to ensure they meet the government's expectations and requirements. Then we have 18%, which is contractual compliance issues. What are these? So this is the second largest category, 18%, involves contractual compliance issues. And these issues arise when entities do not adhere to contractual obligations such as failing to complete required documentation, misrepresenting information, or other forms of non-compliance with the agreed terms. Addressing these compliance issues is crucial for maintaining integrity and accountability within the procurement process. Then the third one is unlawful and fraudulent conduct, which is 6.3%. A smaller yet significant portion of cases involves unlawful and fraudulent conduct. This category includes actions such as fraud, bribery, or other unethical practices intended to manipulate procurement outcomes or benefit improperly from government contracts. Although less frequent, these cases are severe and require strict enforcement and penalties to deter others from similar conduct. Then we also have bidding violations here according to GPPB. This category, although not quantified in this chart, includes any breaches of the bidding process or bidding process rules, such as collusion, bid rigging. So are you familiar with all these things? Or failure to follow bidding guidelines? Even if not represented as a large percentage here, bidding violations are critical to monitor as they undermine the fairness and competitiveness of the procurement process. So in summary, this data serves as a foundation for understanding the primary areas of concern in public procurement compliance, and the high percentage of unsatisfactory performance highlights the importance of selecting reliable contractors and maintaining strict oversight throughout the project lifecycle. And this breakdown reinforces the role of the GPPB in ensuring that procurement activities adhere to standards, enhancing both accountability and the efficient use of public resources. So we can go to the next slide. So again, they have this in 2021. It's another resolution number 040 2021, dated March 4, 2021. So it's 1 year after, almost 1 year, because you remember the lockdown in March, right? So it's still a pandemic period. It says here the efforts of the GPBB to enhance transparency and accountability in public procurement by integrating social media as a tool for open communication and accessibility. So under the resolution I just mentioned, they issued guidelines to ensure that all procuring entities incorporate transparency and accountability in their procurement processes, and this resolution mandates that procurement related activities, decisions, and documents be made accessible to the public to reinforce trust and allow for public scrutiny. And recognizing the vast reach and accessibility of social media, the GPBB encourages the use of these platforms to broadcast procurement-related announcements or updates and proceedings. This includes streaming bids and awards committee meetings and posting procurement results online, making the process more visible to the public and stakeholders. By utilizing social media, the GPPB is expanding its transparency efforts to a wider audience, fostering real-time engagement, and allowing for immediate feedback from citizens and stakeholders. So, what are the primary objectives of social media integration here? But it's just the paper what you're seeing, but I read the circular 2021 there. It should promote real-time transparency by broadcasting proceedings and updates. Also, number two, enhance accountability by making procurement decisions visible to the public. Number three, enable citizens to participate indirectly by observing and commenting on procurement processes. And then number four, bridge the gap between government procurement processes and the general public, thereby reinforcing the government's commitment to an open and honest procurement system. Sounds good or sounds familiar or sounds something easier said than done or something or anything that you would like to think about, and you can tell me that later. So in summary, the integration of social media into the GPPB's transparency and accountability measures represents a forward-thinking approach to public procurement. It aligns with the government's goals to foster openness and build public trust by allowing citizens and stakeholders to witness procurement activities firsthand, providing a new layer of visibility and accountability in government transactions. So, but there were some instances before, and which is very common among all, that sometimes that they don't allow the public, right? So we have observers anyway as a traditional or as a stakeholder under our RA 9184, but hopefully this would be indeed a genuine reform of the procurement process. So we can go to the next slide there. I think I like this one because if there are now RA, okay, in 12009 or okay, NGPA, masanay kayo sa na gamitin ito, okay, 12009 or NGPA. Because it there stands for the new Government Procurement Act. Okay, don't forget that. Okay, open contracting and use of video recording. So open contracting, open is a central principle of 12009, central principle, principle, okay, that ensures that the procurement process remains transparent, allowing public access to all relevant information. The act also mandates that information regarding government procurement from the initial stages of planning and budgeting to bidding and contract awards is made accessible to the public. Okay, we will demand all this one as soon as the IRR gets out there in the, although it was already promulgated and taken effect, but of course our IRR is a very important law. So okay, this provision empowers citizens, CSOs, and other stakeholders to monitor and engage in government procurement activities, thereby fostering transparency and accountability. This measure builds on the foundations established in RA 9184, enhancing public trust by ensuring that every step of the procurement process is available for public scrutiny. So that's open contracting, right? So open access. How about use of video recording? So how should this be done? It introduces this 12009 introduces a mandatory requirement for video recording in all procurement related conferences such as pre-bid and bid opening meetings. Second, this step ensures that there's a documented record of the proceedings, which can serve as a reference for accountability. It also deters potential malpractice as stakeholders are aware that all discussions and decisions are recorded and can be reviewed. Sounds good. I think this is a wonderful addition. Then, video documentation far supports transparency as these recordings can be made accessible to stakeholders, allowing them to verify that the procurement process was conducted fairly and in line with established procedures. I hope the back doors, the side doors, will also be. I'm not sure how can this happen. If the recording could capture all this. Siguro, we need vigilant, stakeholders, not just the participant or not just the key stakeholders like the bidders but the public. Okay, it could be like mirroring the general welfare clause of our constitution, right? So video so this provision signify a progressive shift towards greater transparency and accountability in under 12009, because by enabling open contracting and mandating video recording, the NGPA strengthens public oversight and ensures the integrity of procurement processes. So these steps are designed to protect the public interest and promote ethical practices in the acquisition of goods, services, and infrastructure projects. I hope this will be, di naman pwedeng i-manipulate ito, right? So, because it should be real time. Anyway, go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. It's 10:16. So again, the mandatory video recording. So it's not just the required, but the mandatory video recording provisions under NGPA aimed at enhancing transparency and accountability in the process, in the procurement process. So under the scope, okay, mandatory. So scope of video recording, number one, all procurement-related conferences for competitive bidding are covered under this requirement. What are the inclusions of this? Number one, pre-procurement conferences. Number two, pre-bid or pre-bid conferences. Next, bid opening sessions. And next, other meetings of the BAC. Okay? The intent here, still under the scope of video recording, the intent here is to document key stages in the procurement process, allowing for an accurate and comprehensive record of each step. This level of transparency ensures that all procedural aspects are followed strictly. Second, number one, scope. Now, live streaming, okay? Live streaming requirements. So, beyond recording, the Act mandates the live streaming of the preliminary examination and bid opening process. This means that bids will be open in a way that allows the public to view the process in real time. What else? Live streaming can be done through the procuring entities website. Procuring entity means PE, okay? Procuring entities website, social media platforms, or any other live streaming service like probably Facebook or YouTube and all others. So this provision invites public oversight, which helps build trust in the fairness and openness of the bidding process. Third, threshold. What is this threshold? These are thresholds for mandatory recording. So what do we mean by this one? That video recording and live streaming requirement apply to projects above certain financial thresholds. So for goods above 10 million pesos, for infrastructure projects above 20 million, pesos. And then consulting services above the specified threshold for these services. So it did not specify. Probably this will come out already in the IRR. So this ensures that high-value projects undergo additional scrutiny given their significant impact on public resources and services. So hindi pa rin dapat lahat na lang, no matter how, kahit mas mababa, di ba? So pwede pa rin si 9.9 for goods. Pwede pa rin si 19.9 million. Pwede pa rin si so things like that. I mean, that's realistic. This mandatory recording and live streaming provision is a step towards robust governance in public procurement. It not only creates a documented trail but also provides transparency, especially for large-scale procurement services. So it's still no? So pwedeng habulin pa sa IRR, no? Na but not limited to. So it's something like there should be a clause there that like exception. So as a general rule ito, and then there are exceptions probably. So that when being requested by the bidders, parang ganon. So there must be some clauses like that to make sure it is a full, transparency goals that we are achieving and not partially. So yung threshold, yun lang yung medyo, there are still questions that might arise because of this one. Anyway, my role is just to inform you about all these things. But we can do something, right? Because sabi niyo, a public oversight, I'm part of the public. You are also part of public. So, okay, next slide. Yan. Okay. 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 So, transparency, accountability, public monitoring. Okay. There are observers naman, di ba? In fact, PIEP PIEP is a accredited observer or, as a CSO. So, anyway, participatory. Okay. Public monitoring and observer participation under 12009, it institutionalizes the role of CSOs in the procurement process by engaging CSOs in the monitoring of procurement activities. The Act aims to ensure that procurement practices are conducted openly and responsibly. Also, this provision mandates that CSOs and other qualified observers have access to procurement-related activities, enhancing accountability. Their involvement allows for an external check on the process, minimizing the potential for irregularities and ensuring that public funds are used effectively. So, next one, participatory procurement. Okay, in the left side. The NGPA emphasizes participatory procurement, which integrates public monitoring directly into the procurement process. Ano yun? Pwede manood lahat or something? So this should be expressed in the IRR, isn't it? So this approach goes beyond passive observation. Really? So allowing public monitors to actively participate in specific stage of procurement, such as bid openings and evaluation meetings. This ensures that public has a say in ensuring compliance with procurement standards. So again, this has to be clarified in the IRR. By embedding public monitoring, the NGPA promotes a culture of openness and trust between government agencies and the public, fostering confidence that procurement decisions are made transparently and in the best interest of the community. So we can go to the next slide. it introduces, okay. So again, PE is a procurement entity, okay? So yeah, it's still about the portal, right? The portal, Procurement Observers Portal that was launched in August 2023. The portal enhances transparency, right? And blah, blah, blah. Through this platform, observers can, number one, easily join the procurement process by responding to invitations from PEs or procurement entities. Number two, access real-time procurement information relevant to ongoing projects. So we need to know also from the IRR later how is anyone allowed to access? Kasi sabi niya, di ba? So real-time procurement information sa anyone can, it's indeed 100% open to public noon kasi hindi pwede, madami siyang gagawin pa bago ka makapasok, di ba? So submit reports on their observations, ensuring that any concerns or issues are quickly recorded and addressed. So this initiative reflects a commitment to open governance as it streamlines observer participation, promotes accountability, and fosters a transparent procurement environment. So the platform simplifies the process, allowing all stakeholders to contribute actively with just a click, thereby strengthening the integrity of public procurement. So we can, sabi niya, all with just a click of a button. Then we go to the next one. Maybe you can try all those links that you're seeing tonight. Then what else? Beneficial ownership declaration. Bidders to declare beneficial ownership information. So this provision actually mandates that bidders must disclose information about their beneficial owners, and this step is critical to ensuring transparency by identifying the true individuals behind bidding entities and not just dummies. So number two, according to NGPA, so dinefine niya din yung beneficial owners, natural person. Okay, you know what's natural person? Who, number one, ultimately owns and dominantly influences the management or policies of the juridical entity. Number two, exercises ultimate effective control over the juridical entity. So, owns or dominates there means that this person either ultimately owns or has significant influence over the management or policies of the juridical entity, and exerts control there means that alternatively this individual exercises ultimate effective control over the juridical entity even if they're not formally listed as the owner or stakeholder. So this requirement is intended to prevent anonymity in the procurement process, ensuring that there's clear accountability and helping to mitigate the risk of fraud, corruption, and conflicts of interest. By revealing beneficial owners, the NGPA strengthens the integrity of public procurement, promoting a more transparent and fair process. So we can go to the next one here. Disclosure. Okay, disclosure. So disclosure of relations. All bidding, okay, the key points here is number one, affidavit requirements. So all bidding requirements or documents must include a sworn affidavit from the bidder. This affidavit certifies that the bidder, along with any partner, board member, or officer of the juridical entity is not related by consanguinity or affinity up to the third civil degree to key personnel involved the procurement process. This includes, okay, so ano yung i-establish natin na ano dito, na disclosure of relations to the, okay, head of the procuring entity, the hope, and then the members of the back, and then the TWG, and then the Secretariat of BAC, and then the Project Management Office Head, and then the end user or implementing unit. And then project consultants or procurement agents of the procuring entity. So how do we establish third degree? Paano yung third degree? So I will be asking that in the marunong ba kayong mag-count ng per second? 'Di ba? Direct line ganon. Alam natin. So like if we are establishing you ganon, yourself, then your mother first, 'di ba? Father first. So paano kayo mag-establish ng ano? So we really need to do this one, like a lawyer also. Parang ganon. We need to kapag kasi yung sa procurement madaming mga ENP who are also good at procurement. Some are being hired as procurement officer, procurement specialist, procurement expert in corporations. So it does not say anyway that you need to be environmental planner, but of course, especially if it is a consulting company, so and most of your projects are like this, so it would matter that you're also an environmental planner. So okay, and with a combined profession that really benefits the employer or your own company. Anyway, so this requirement aims to prevent collusion and ensures fairness in the procurement process by disclosing relationships. The procuring entity can avoid potential conflicts of interest, which enhances transparency. So ultimate beneficial owner, yeah, that affidavit also requires bidders to disclose the ultimate beneficial ownership of their entity, because this information helps identify the actual individuals who may influence or control the bidding entity, which further strengthens the anti-collusion measures. So we can go to the next slide. So okay. All participating entities, because of the requirement of beneficial ownership disclosure, all participating entities in government procurement, including suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, contractors, and consultants, must declare their beneficial ownership information. This disclosure is essential to enhance transparency and accountability, ensuring that those with significant influence or control over an entity are known to the public. So, yung kanina ay disclosure of relations, and then ito ay disclosure of beneficial ownership. Okay. And despite the provisions of RA 10173, do you know 10173, the Data Privacy Act? The NGPA mandates transparency from private sector organizations, corporations, foundations, and associations. This measure aims to prevent any potential conflicts of interest, corruption, or unfair advantages in government procurement processes. So the ultimate goal of declaring beneficial ownership is to protect the government from any actions that could compromise a transparent, fair, and competitive procurement environment. So by understanding who truly controls or benefits from a bidding entity, the government can more effectively detect and prevent collusion, fraud, or other integrity risks. The GPBB will maintain an online registry of beneficial ownership information for all government procurement participants. This registry will be accessible to the public, promoting a culture of openness and allowing citizens to monitor who benefits from public procurement contracts. This declaration supports the NGPA's objective of ensuring that government procurement remains impartial and free from undue influence, enhancing public trust in the process. So we go to the next slide. So probably we can, okay, let me just count here. Sige, continue lang. Wait, just a moment. All right. So now you're seeing the SDG. Okay, di ba? We've done SDG. Under what 12009, it's yeah, it should highlight, or it highlights the role of procurement policy in advancing the SDGs. So it means it wants to contribute, this system wants to contribute to the achieving the goals. Okay, the SDG goals. Under NGPA, procurement policies are designed not only to meet immediate government needs, but also to contribute to the broader SDGs. This aligns procurement practices with national and global development objectives, ensuring that public spending is directed towards creating positive social, economic, and environmental impacts. And it has a focus on sustainable consumption and production. So anyone can just unmute and tell me where is it located? The sustainable consumption and production. The number, SDG number. If you're still awake. You can Google. I'll not proceed until you tell me.
SGD 12 po.
SDG 12. Okay. So that's responsible consumption and production. So, okay, you have to remember that. The NGPA encourages procurement practices that minimize environmental impacts, promote resource efficiency, and support the use of sustainable goods and services. So this focus helps in reducing waste and promoting a circular economy where products are reused, repaired, or recycled whenever possible. Then NGPA also aims to enhance competitiveness by fostering inclusive engagement with suppliers. This approach opens opportunities for small, local, and underrepresented businesses, making government procurement more accessible to a wider array of suppliers. It ensures that procurement practices are fair and promote economic growth by supporting diverse businesses across the country. Now, by institutionalizing procurement as a driver for sustainable development, the NGPA positions government procurement as a powerful tool to support the nation's long-term development strategy. It empowers agencies to contribute directly to social progress, economic growth, and environmental protection, showcasing the government's commitment to the SDGs. So we can go to the next slide. Okay. Also, it has key gender responsive strategies because it has to, gender responsive strategies in procurement policies under GPPB. Can you see GPPB resolution number 01/2023 dated 21 March 2023? So hindi na pandemic ito, di ba? And so these strategies aim to foster inclusivity and support gender equity within public procurement process. Ang dami niyang na-incorporate na concepts, right? And principles. So what are these key gender responsive strategies? Number one, promoting competition and inclusivity through enhanced market studies. Policies encourage competition that considers diverse supplier backgrounds and promotes inclusivity. Second, streamlining. Another strategy is streamlining business registration and licensing. Simplifying registration and licensing process to reduce barriers, making it easier for women-led businesses and other underrepresented groups to participate in government procurement. I hope they will stay true to this strategy. And then another one is standardizing supplier payments. By reviewing payment rules, the policy aims to standardize and ensure timely payments, reducing financial strain or small suppliers, including those from gender-focused or minority-owned businesses. So, yeah, sometimes this is the problem that ginigipit or iniipit or something. Any other concept under this, right? When paying the, contractors or the business owners or the consultants. Anyway, next one, capacity development and mentoring. Providing training and mentoring to build capacity, particularly for suppliers from diverse backgrounds, equipping them with skills to effectively engage in procurement opportunities. So it's important that, all peoples from all walks of life, all those, especially from those underrepresented sectors who could also participate in the procurement process. So they need to be trained on the capacitated on this one, on procurement system under 12009. So how about another strategy is establishment of a supplier database, creating a comprehensive database of suppliers to enhance tracking and encourage the participation of gender responsive businesses in the procurement process. Then, leveraging technology for market access, meaning using technology to expand access to procurement information and opportunities, allowing for broader market access, especially for small and medium enterprises, the SMEs, and gender diverse suppliers. So that's leveraging technology. Another strategy is stakeholder engagement, meaning that engaging stakeholders from different sectors to foster a collaborative environment, supporting gender equity and inclusivity in procurement policy. So this is strategies that I've just told you, emphasize inclusivity, equitable participation, and fair treatment within the procurement system, promoting gender responsiveness as a core principle in public procurement. Now, I think, what have we done so far? Did we go to the next one? Let's see if I can. Okay, maybe we can end for the next is 2 slides. We will continue tomorrow for sustainable public procurement. So we can tackle that. What have we done so far? So yeah, these are the, and you can see on the left side, shift to broad product categories with mandatory green specifications. So can you see that? GPPB resolution number 7, 2023, dated 24 August 2023. So uniform initiative, then sustainable textile. Okay, so what do we have here? These are the highlights actually of what have been done so far. These are some of those, like engagement and outreach, new infrastructure, ribbon cutting. So these are some of those things that have been accomplished. That this were, it signifies the tangible steps taken towards enhancing transparency, accountability, and efficiency in government procurement. So maybe we can go to the next slide. Just photos anyway about what they've done. So just to introduce the next slide, Jen, is the sustainable public procurement. So there are 3 concepts there. The green public procurement. Okay. I mean, yung dalawa. Asan na yun? Sorry. Okay. Tatlo pala. Because these are the key components of sustainable public procurement under 12009. Number 1, sustainable principle emphasizes that the procurement process should be guided by sustainable considerations, aiming to what? Minimize environmental impact and promote social equity. So we're needed here, right? Because it's all about this one, minimizing environmental impact. So I think we have a good role here, or huge, or a bigger role. This principle encourages responsible sourcing and practices that support ecological balance. So being true to the one of the Bill of Rights in the Constitution, isn't it? Okay. Second, inclusive procurement programs aims to ensure that marginalized and disadvantaged groups have equal access and opportunities in government procurements. So this inclusive approach supports diversity in supplier base and promotes fairness in public contracts. So being inclusive. Then third is the gender responsive. So we are just summarizing the previous concepts and principles that we just tackled under gender responsive. Again, it seeks to integrate gender considerations into procurement policies, ensuring that procurement practices are equitable and that gender specific needs are addressed. So the framework aligns with broader goals for gender equality and inclusion in public sector activities. So sustainable public procurement tackles 3 principles: sustainability, inclusivity, and gender responsiveness of the procurement framework. I think so it's easy to remember them, right? So that by tomorrow, but the next slide should be the last one, that in green public procurement, next, can you move to the, okay, so that would be the last one. The green public procurement aims to incorporate environmentally friendly practices within public procurement processes, aligning them with SDGs. So you mentioned about SDG 12, and this initiative promotes that procurement of products and services that minimize environmental impact, thereby fostering sustainability. And then the next one is the green local. So it's all about green, green local market development. So what differentiates it from the first green public procurement? That green local marketing or market development focuses on the creation of a green local market that prioritizes local products and services meeting sustainable criteria. This development not only supports local economies, but also ensures that sustainability standards are adhered to, encouraging eco-friendly business practices. So together, these components highlight a commitment to sustainable development by promoting green practices in procurement and supporting local green economies. So I think that should be the last slide for tonight. So you want we will still have to discuss and finish it all tomorrow. So I hope you can come by 9 up to 9:15. So that 9:15 I can start tomorrow so that I can finish the procurement law. So the 12:09. So good night and you have a great evening.
Pa-open na lang po ng camera.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you. I hope you learned tonight. Open your camera. Ako, wag muna.
May 10 minutes pa para mag-11. Nakaka-smile na si Sir Vincent. Oh. Okay, ready everyone? In 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you po. Bukas ulit. Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you.